Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Honestly, Let's Talk. My name is Todd Nesloni. I will be your host for this evening, and these conversations happen weekly and are meant to just cover a variety of topics for all walks of life, just to have a really focused conversation over something specific. And so today, I wanted to have a conversation with a few of my favorite entrepreneurs who all happen to have some kind of tie to education as well, since I know many people who are going to be joining in this conversation, watching or listening, are going to be educators as well. So I want to do as little talking today as possible because I want you to hear from and learn from these brilliant, amazing, wonderful human beings. But I want them to introduce themselves first. So Tyler, tell everybody kind of who you are and what your hustle is.
All right. Well, my name is Tyler Mallett, and I am a coach for educators. When you hear coach, you might think of like an instructional coach, right? Or like a literacy coach. I'm a different kind of coach. So I focus on stress. So I work with educators at all levels on helping them deal with the pressures of our very high stress profession. So I'm a professionally trained coach. I do really three different things. I do life coaching for teachers. I do executive coaching for principals all the way up through district executives. And I also have a series of professional development, all focused around dealing with stress, that I partner with schools to deliver.
Awesome. Lanisha.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lanisha Tab. My brand, if you will, is Education with an Apron. And my hustles are many. Latrice here, who is about to introduce herself, she kind of told me like a year or so ago, like once you get bit by the entrepreneurship bug, it just kind of spirals out of control. And that's what's happening. So I make teacher resources. I sell t-shirts. I sell aprons. I write courses that I bring in extra income, like literally just anything that I can get into. That's what I do.
Oh, and you have a book coming out this year as well.
Yeah. In just a few weeks, I'll be a published author. So literally just like everything.
And I just got to tell y'all need to put it on your calendar to buy her book today. I got to read an early copy and it is so good. She wrote it with Naomi O'Brien, who is fantastic and amazing as well. So Lanisha, I can't wait for the world to see and kind of learn even more. But we'll talk maybe a little bit more about that later. But Latrice, tell everybody who you are.
Hi, everyone. I'm Latrice Galloway. I am Trendy Teachers, if that's what you may know me as. So I sell teacher tees and pretty much trendy clothing for teachers. You may not know, but I also, by how I got into education, is I own a child care center. And so that's kind of how I got started. So I've been owning my center for 13 years. And so I do that on top of Trendy Teachers. And then now I am a child care consultant. So now I help other people, start child care centers. I have wrote a book about how to start a child care center. And I'm trying to get into the digital world like Lanisha and help my other child care providers out. But so I do all the things too.
Oh, man, see, I'm even learning stuff tonight already about y'all. So, okay, Jose, introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jose Cortez. I am the CEO of Berto & Company, which is a company that I design and create products for teachers to help them stay organized throughout the school year. We've also branched out to basically just help them with anything that's stylish and fashionable, bags and tumblers and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, that's the main thing. I'm also the founder of a Happy You conference, which is a conference that promotes self-care. And it's not just for educators, it's for anybody. And then I'm also in charge of the Teacher Fixer Upper, which we just did last week to a lucky teacher. We do that every year. We go and like make over her classroom and stuff like that. And I am a former fourth grade bilingual teacher, and that's how I am in education.
I love it. And I got to say, Jose, my wife is obsessed with all of your stuff. You probably see our name come across your site all the time. Yes. And your planners especially. She's like, I can't live without a Berto & Co. planner, just so you know. So thank you for helping me lose even more money. Appreciate it. So, Aaron, what about you?
Hey, so I am Erin Casley. I actually teach first grade, and I have been teaching first grade. This is my ninth year in first grade, but it feels like my first year because, as I was saying to Todd and Lanisha before it started, I'm on the virtual teacher bandwagon on this year. But I also own Erin's Inc. and I mainly sell. Leather earrings and faux leather earrings, so lightweight earrings, and they have fun teachery sayings on them and different teacher themes and holiday themes. And then I also have a store on Teachers Pay Teachers. Before I started making earrings, I made clip art, and so I still do some of that here and there. And I've also started making some stickers and bracelets. So like Lanisha said, it kind of just like keeps spiraling.
Yeah, I love hearing y'all introduce yourself because you're like, I started doing this and then I did this and now I'm doing this too. And so we just get in this cycle of, it's fun creating and pursuing those passions that you just realize you keep doing more and more. So, I'd love to start with you, Latrice, kind of knowing how did Trendy Teachers even begin? Because I know you talked about, you're running this childcare center. I love your shirts. I feel like everybody in education knows them or has seen them somewhere. They've been realizing they're seeing one of your designs because they're so cool and there's such a variety. So how did that even begin?
Well, like I said, I own a childcare center, and we used to go to all these conferences with my staff, and they would love some of the teas that they would sell at these conferences. And so I just decided one day I was going to make them some. I was going to just try to get crafty and see what happens. And they absolutely loved them. And other people started asking. So again, it was just for fun. I wasn't trying to make money. I was just making people t-shirts. And then it literally just started growing and it started becoming a business. People started recognizing the teas. And when I originally started and it started growing, I just really wanted my staff to be able to express themselves through my shirts. And so that's kind of how it started. And now educators all over the world are being able to express themselves in my tees and also be fashionable while doing it, because that's important.
That's right. Teachers especially, they love a cute teacher saying tea. Yeah. I mean, they will fill their closets up with them. And so, Tyler, you've been in education as well. And so obviously you focus a lot now on stress, which I saw as soon as you said that, Lanisha popped up. She's like, oh, yep, we're all dealing with a lot of stress right now. And so, how did that transition for you of being in education and then going, I want to help leaders and educators work through stress?
Yeah, great question. So I have been really privileged to have done a whole bunch of different jobs all around education. So I started off as a teacher and then I did consulting. So most of my work has been around virtual learning and technology. And so I sold educational technology. I ran professional development teams. And then I went and I worked in a district office. So I was a district level director of virtual learning. And then from there, I went to the corporate world where I was really privileged to have a job where I did some national consulting. And so throughout my career, I have hauled my suitcase literally through hundreds of schools, right? So big schools, small schools. I might be in California one day, Florida the next day, and New York the next day, and everywhere in between. And so having seen all of those different schools, it was just sort of one day it hit me that educator stress is the same everywhere. Mm-hmm. And so I saw it as a huge opportunity because I feel like somebody has to address this, right? Yeah. And so I made the decision to become a professional coach, which was a pretty rigorous process of getting trained to become a coach. And about 2 years ago, I started coaching part-time. And at that time, I was working with some educators, but also just people with business and fitness and all sorts of other goals. And then this year in 2020, which I think you all agree would probably be the most challenging year yet, right, for educators, I made the decision to go full-time with my business.
So I've got to ask, Tyler, since you specialize in stress and stress management, do you feel like you have a pretty good handle on stress management in your own life?
Well, so that's also a great question. I think part of the requirements of being a coach, right, is that we study so much about the mind and about why people behave the way that they do. And so in order for me to do my job properly, I have to put my inner self first. And so it really is a daily practice. You guys were talking about self-care earlier. That's obviously one of the most important things that I do personally. And so I think a lot of it is that we all have stress and we all have negative thoughts. They come up automatically, but you have so much choice in what you do with those thoughts and how you respond to your stress. Right. And so I would say I have a pretty good handle on what's going on right now.
So, Erin, you've been in the classroom for multiple years now, and you started doing that earring thing on the side. And, my wife does earrings too. And I don't care what people say, that's not an easy gig, because not only are you creating designs and you create all your designs, like you work with the fonts and the design, then you have to make them, then you have to package them, then you have to sell them, then you have to ship them and raise your children, on top of teaching as well. So where did the idea come from? Like, hey, I want to take a leap into this creation idea of earrings.
So actually it was just like kind of random. One night I had gotten a Cricut, when everybody was buying Cricuts and making fun things, and I could never make a shirt. It's hilarious. Jose knows why, because I didn't understand my heat press for 2 years apparently, but Jose is making fun of me. So obviously I couldn't make any shirts, so I decided to try to make something else, and I ended up making I should have worn a pair of pencil earrings, and it took me 5 hours to make one pair of pencil earrings, but I did it, and it was 2 a.m. and I ran downstairs and showed my husband, and of course he's like, what the heck is that? He was half asleep, he couldn't even see what was on my ear, and I'm like, it's a pencil, duh. And so I was so excited because I thought I'll go to school and the kids will think this is cute, and and then people at work started wanting them, and then I just kind of started making different designs, and kind of like Latrice said, it just kind of went from there. So it was totally just a for fun thing, for me.
Yeah. I love that. Well, Jose, I want to jump over to you next and think about, you were in the classroom, you said you were a bilingual teacher, and then now you're designing all this stuff that, your teachers go crazy over your stuff. You gotta, when you release new things, you gotta buy it quick because people will buy it up and it will be gone. And I know for a while, you and your husband were running everything out of your house and had taken over rooms until you finally got a warehouse recently. So that's exciting to be that successful. But what was the transition for you to go, I want to start creating things too?
Okay, so before I go there, Erin, can I tell them about your heat press situation?
Sure, just go right ahead.
So, okay. So, what was it, a month ago or so? Erin's been making earrings for, she said, 2 or whatever years, right? And she's always had the same heat press, right? Haven't you had the same heat press the whole time?
Uh-huh.
Okay, and then she kept telling me, she's like, I've tried to make shirts before, but it doesn't stick, it doesn't stick to the thing. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Because we have a heat press and we press shirts too. We have shirts on the side too. And so I'm like, I don't understand what you're talking about. So she wanted to make a shirt. I can't remember what it was for. What was it, for one of your kids or something?
Yeah, it was for one of my twins.
Yeah. And she's like, can you explain to me what I'm possibly doing wrong? And so I kind of walked her through it, right? And I was like, you've got to push it all the way down until it locks. It's got to lock. And she's like, what? And so she pushed it all the way down and it locked. And then she was freaking out. She's like, Jose, I can't open it. It's not opening. And she was freaking out. And I'm like, it's supposed to do that, Erin. You're not supposed to be able to open it. And so all of a sudden it just popped open and she was able to peel it off. I was like, how have you been heat pressing for 2 years, Erin?
I'm surprised you didn't YouTube that.
Right? Gotta love Aaron.
My husband was asleep, and I seriously almost ran up the stairs and asked him to like throw the heat press out into the yard because I was afraid it was going to catch fire.
That is so funny.
Like, because I was like, it's never going to come. It's not coming up, so this church is going to catch on
She
fire.
was
And the heat
freaking
press is like
out.
50 pounds.
So anyways, I just had to share that. It was so cute. Okay, but to answer your question, let's see. So I was in the classroom, and my first year teaching, I'm very like honest about this fact. I was gifted a teacher planner, and I'm not going to say the name of who it was, but it was a very popular brand. And I always used planners like throughout college. I had like a small little planner that, you know, I would keep myself organized with. But I didn't know that teacher planners were even a thing, right? And so to receive that for my first year, I was really excited, and I used it as much as I could, but there was so much of it that went wasted that I couldn't. It didn't apply to like my position as an elementary school teacher. Like there was pages that I didn't even understand why they were in there. Like it was just kind of like for the most part an amazing thing to have, but then also like I just wanted more, you know? And so I ended up that summer after my first year, I knew what I needed at that point. And so I just got on my computer, and I have a background in graphic design. So I started to design my own. And then I went to a printer and I printed it. It was really just for me. It was for fun. It was for me, for the classroom. I wasn't thinking like everyone is saying, like, you know, I guess that's the really fun and interesting thing, because I mean, we're all educators, or, you know, we have this passion inside of the classroom and with children, and that's kind of where our heart went. But then all of a sudden there was this pain point that we saw that we were able to do something with it. And then that journey, basically there was people that wanted it, you know, and so I started making them on Etsy, and that kind of spiraled out. And I went to my very first Get Your Teach On, and as a teacher, I bought my ticket. It was like, I think the third ever Get Your Teach On, back when Periscope was a thing, and Hope was talking about it. And I was like, oh my gosh, Sean, they're coming to Grapevine, Texas. And so, yeah, I went to Get Your Teach On, and all I wanted was to get a picture with Hope and Wade King and my little planner. Like, that's all I was wanting, you know. And when I did, Hope saw it, and she's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. It was like my first prototype, you know. And, you know, then she was like, you know, would you ever be interested in like joining us and making one with art? And I'll be honest with you, I tell everybody this is so funny that I said no. I told her no. Chris Montmagno called me and we talked, and I was like, you know, I've thought about it, and I mean, I'm just starting my business, and for me to like put someone else's logo on my planners, I can't see that right now. And so I said no. And then I thought about it for a week, and I just was like, oh my God, that was the worst decision ever. So a week later, I called them back up and I said, let's do it. Yeah. So basically after that, it just kind of, everything just went crazy. So
I love that.
Yeah.
You know, I love hearing some of y'all, before I get to you, Lanisha, that, you know, it's so funny that the most successful entrepreneurs, I feel like, are successful because you don't start it right away to make money. You're starting it just because you love it, and you're making something for you, whether it's, I want a cute pair of earrings, I need my own planner, I was making t-shirts, people that I worked with, I was dealing with stress and I wanted to learn how to work through that. So, and then, you know, Lanisha, leading into you, I mean, you are such a varied entrepreneur, all the different things you have, whether you're making aprons, whether you've got these viral back to our school-ish shirts that you make, or you've got all your really fantastic products on Teachers Pay Teachers that really push the envelope of what's traditionally been put out there by teachers. And so what was that process for you like when you realized you were entering into the entrepreneur world?
Yeah, well, okay, so we'll start with the product. I try to put things out into the world that are not already there. So like, let's take Teachers Pay Teachers and resource creation. I joined Teachers Pay Teachers in 2009 or 10 and saw a little bit of success right there at the beginning. But then, like, if you guys remember, I'm old now, everybody was blogging heavy then. Remember, everybody had their blogs. And like, you would get home from work and be like, oh my gosh, someone left a comment on my blog. And then, it was like the blogger boom. So there was like a few blogs, and then literally within like 6 months, like thousands upon thousands of teachers exploded, and they all had TPT stores. And my personality is such that if I feel like somebody's already doing something well enough, then I tap out. So I had quiet years on TPT where I might have made like a little bit here and a little bit there. I didn't even check it. I'd be like, where did this random money come from? Like $100, like, oh, that's right, I still have a TPT store. And then finally the social studies thing happened, and I reached out to Naomi and I did my research first, and I'm like, there's nothing out there like this. And when we put it out there, we, weren't very big. We had very small followings back then, and we just started sharing our work, and then it was just filling a void, and then it kind of took off. And that's just how I function. Even the t-shirts, when I first started my t-shirt company, I was doing it for me because I noticed that there were so many cute t-shirts for really white educators. It would be really cute, like messy bun, getting stuff done. And I'm like, I wear box braids. I don't have a messy bun. So what? And I'm like, there's Black teachers out here. Like, where's our shirt? So if you look at I would say 75% of my shirt designs are geared for Black educators. Mm-hmm. And so that's how that train started rolling. Is I'm always looking for something that's not being done because I don't know. I can't do something that's just already out there.
I love that. And so, as we all have entered into the entrepreneurship in different ways and in different levels, we all learn lessons along the way. So, Jose, what do you feel like is a lesson you learned? What's one lesson that you remember, like, I really learned that I need to do this right or better or not do this or?
So I think that a lot of you guys will probably agree with me on this, that as an educator, we tend to overshare things sometimes. Like, we love to help people. It's in our nature, in our blood. And so, but one of the things about being an entrepreneur is that when you are doing something that you have struggled, like you have been in it and you have struggled to get to where you're at, you can't be sharing all your secrets, all your trade secrets and all your, you know what I mean? And I think that is definitely one of the things that I learned the hard way, like from early on, is just to not overshare and to kind of like, as an entrepreneur, like there has to be kind of, like a step back from that, just so that, like, I mean, I've been successful at what I'm doing, and it's been a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and I'm not just going to give that to somebody because we get messages all the time that are like, hey, where are you ordering your products from? And I want to do a teacher planner too. Where are you ordering it? And I'm like, I don't think so. I mean, because we've failed a lot. We've lost a lot of money trying different manufacturers, and you know what I mean? And so, yeah, that's not something that I just kind of give to anybody, So yeah,
it's kind of like sometimes people want to take the easy way out and saw that you were successful. So tell me all your secrets because I'm going to copy it and be successful too. And it's like, well, that doesn't work. Like, we had a lot of issues that we worked through to be successful. So I completely understand kind of what you're saying, Jose. So Latrice, what's a lesson you've learned?
Well, when I first started, it started off fun. So a lesson that I learned is, for yourself, you're going to work 20 times as harder. Most people think, oh, I'm going to get entrepreneurship because this is going to be easy. And this is no. You're going to work way harder. And when I first started, I thought, oh, this is all fun and games. And as it grew, I really learned that you're going to blood, sweat, and tears. And you just got to stay on the course. It's not going to always be good. People think it's easy. You see the end results. This is like a process. And if it's something that you really want, I've learned you have to stick with it. I tell people all the time, it was so many times I tried to quit Trendy Teachers because I'm like, it's not making as much money as I want. And something wouldn't let me quit. So you just have to stay focused, stay dedicated, and you will. And I'm like Jose, people do all the time ask me, how did I start? And I wind up creating a class. You know what? I'll tell you, but it's not going to be free because it cost me a lot of money. I lost a lot of money. I messed up a lot. And so I'll help you, but it won't be free. And so I just think that you just have to know you're going to work really hard and don't give up. It won't always be easy. And that's what I had to learn, is to stay the course and stay dedicated. And if you do, it'll all work out.
Yeah. Lanisha?
Oh, shoot. I thought you were going to go in the same order as last time.
I'm mixing it up.
I just knew I was
ready.
You want me to go to somebody else and come back?
Yeah, give me a minute.
Okay.
Me?
Yes.
Okay. Kind of I feel like I don't know. So I guess the lesson I've kind of having to be learning, and I'm like still learning, is, I have two twin toddlers. Okay, they're 2 years old, a boy and a girl. And so, there's like times where, and I still teach. So like, obviously those two things have to come at this point in my life before Aaron's Inc., because one is, paying my salary. Like I can't put that on the back burner. And then my twins, obviously it's my family. So I feel like I just keep having to like ride almost like the wave. Like, so, like 1 week I might not be able to do as much as I would like for Aaron's Inc. But then maybe the next week I get a little more time. So I just have to keep kind of finding that balance that you were talking about. That's like non-existent. But it's definitely, I've been getting better though. I've been getting better about finding that. So
Tyler?
I would say one thing that I learned is that you have to be pretty unwilling, I would say relentlessly unwilling, to believe negative thinking about your business. And I know you're the one asking the questions, Todd, but I just would love to know, just nod your head, right, guys? We are all presented with probably 100 thoughts, negative thoughts about our business every morning, right? And you think, who am I to have this business? Or, Jose or Lanisha, you might have thought, well, aren't there enough planners, or aren't there enough pairs of earrings out there? And I love what you said, Lanisha. Your thinking wasn't that teachers pay teachers is saturated. It was, I'm going to put something out there that hasn't been done before. I'm going to put my own spin on it. I think you said nothing like it. That was what you said that struck me. And so what I would say is, as an entrepreneur or a business owner, there is nothing like you. You are the only person in the whole world that's like you. And so those negative thoughts about your business are going to come. They're automatic, but don't give them more than 5 minutes of your time. Just keep pushing forward, because I think when you start to believe those limiting beliefs, that's when you get real fuzzy in your thinking, and you're just not as creative as a business owner or a creative person.
Well, and something that you said there that I think really struck me is, not only are your negative thoughts coming from you, but when you run a public business that others are buying things, everybody feels like they now have the right to comment over why would you design that? Or constantly, when is this going to come out? When are you going to do something like this? You didn't make one that was this color. You didn't make one that was this size. And you're like, I barely got out that thing that you saw there. I don't have anything left in me to make all your stuff. Or when they'll be like,
let all that go.
Like a coupon code where we can get like half off. And I'm like, no, I don't today. I'm sorry. I can't go broke doing this passion. So Lanisha, what about you? What is something you've learned?
Really just to get comfortable with taking risks, which I'm not comfortable with. So that has been like things I'm doing now I never would have done a year ago. And then just getting very comfortable with failure and making mistakes. Like, we are just learning in real time. As soon as I remember just this last launch when we were doing aprons for the first time, I created this apron and I have this cute little logo on it, and I decided to put a pom-pom little trim on it, and I took a picture, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, I love it. We sold out in like less than 15 minutes. And I was like, I'm gonna make 1 million of these. This is great. I hop online. There's no pom-pom vendors like that. Like, it's really impossible to find pom-pom fringe. I'm looking in China, I'm looking in India, I'm looking at like shipping. So like, where can I get this pom-pom fringe? It's next to impossible. And so I had to like course correct, like, well, I can't offer that like I thought it was. So I feel like I would have fallen apart in the past and been like, we'll forget it. And now I'm just like course correcting, like, well, I certainly won't hop on and do this big promo image if I can't promise that next time. You know, I'm just learning and getting used to just, you know, failure, really.
Yeah. So as we wrap this conversation up today, you know, the question I kind of want to close with is, and you can choose how you want to answer this. One is, the people who are watching today, some of them may be interested in going and becoming an entrepreneur on their own, or seeking out some of these kind of growth opportunities. And so from our conversation today, what's something you hope they walk away with, or a word of advice you would give them? And we'll go ahead and start with Erin.
Oh gosh. A word of advice. Probably, yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm going to piggyback off of some of these others, but definitely just like find something that you know, really like, and make that what you put your effort into. And then since like Jose, like he really wanted a planner that was going to fit his needs. And so then other people realize, well, that's like so fitted for teachers. I want that too. And I feel like if you need it, or if you have the passion for it and you put that into it, then people are, I don't know. It's like even if they don't really know that, they like somehow feel that like energy from it. Like, wow, so this really had effort put into it, or this really had a great idea behind it. So kind of like what everyone said, you know, just not to just go with something random that you don't really care about, but like put something out there that means a lot to you.
Yeah. Jose?
Sorry, I was muted. I would say that my advice would be to, it's kind of like a self-care type of advice, I guess, that it's important to create a team. I think that at the beginning I was kind of solo and I was just doing everything on my own, and it was very stressful. And I felt like I had to do it all on my own because it was like my thing. But then I started to create a team, and it doesn't mean like you have to like hire people left and right and like have this whole, you know what I mean? It's just surrounding yourself with people that are going to help you in different ways. And so like one of them obviously is my husband, who pushes me and encourages me to do those creative things that I normally would second guess myself on. And then like Erin is my best friend over here, and like we kind of just feed off of each other a lot creatively. So I have someone that I can kind of turn to just like brainstorm things like that. But really just, like surround yourself, create some sort of a team that helps build you so that you can be as successful as possible.
Awesome. Latrice?
I would say for me, a big one is just believing in yourself. I tell people that all the time. I would not be here in any of my businesses had I listened to other people and not believed in myself. So I know it's a lot of people that always ask about entrepreneurship and starting their own business, and they have this great idea. I always tell people, just do it. Just do it. You never know until you try. But me, I've become a risk taker. I used to not be a risk taker, like Lanisha said, but as I've grown in my journey, if it's not gonna, affect my household, I'll try something. And but when I try it, it's something I believe in, and I believe in myself, and I work really hard for it. So like I said, I always tell entrepreneurs, believe in yourself, because everybody won't see your vision. People will try to talk you out of you tell somebody your idea, people will try to talk you out of it. You sure you want to do that? My degree is not in early childhood education. So when I told my family what I was going to do, they were looking at me like, are you crazy? Are you going to work with kids? You have a degree in criminal justice and business. You're going to work with kids. But I saw my vision. And once my school was done, everybody was like, wow. So believe in yourself. And that's what you have to go with your gut and just believe in yourself. That's a big one, because people will try to talk you out of your vision.
Yes, they will. Lanisha?
I would just say, just remember that you are your brand. And that doesn't mean that you are always the face of your brand, but like who you are as a person, what you believe, the quality, the passion behind it. Because a lot of times I will even look at the thing, like I said, just started selling aprons. And I'm like, but really you could just go to Michael's and get like a $7 apron. It's not a big deal. And I've got people in my life who are speaking into me and they're like, no, but they love education with an apron because you've put yourself out there as this trusted teacher and this, you've shared your journey over these years. So they will, want to purchase from education with an apron. And so that's part one. Then part two is get a circle of people who will speak that life into you. So like for me, Latrice is one of those people. My friend Nicole Turner, she literally had changed my life. She was like, you need a website, you need this, like you just need people in your life that are telling you need to go to the next level. I didn't really have that before. All my friends that I've had before, we just live in I don't have any friends that are like entrepreneurs. I'm the first one in my friend circle. So now I'm constantly seeking out relationships with other entrepreneurs because they push you forward. And it's amazing.
Tyler?
I would say do it now or do it soon. I think this is the advice I wish someone had given me. As educators, we are really good at being perfectionists, right? And so you could spend years and years dreaming up your idea or creating your thing. But you've got to put something out there, and there's no greater feeling than like launch day when you just get it out there, because then it's done, and then you can improve it in small iterations as you go. So don't wait, do it now.
I love it. Well, you five are fantastic. For everybody listening or watching, I encourage you to go check out Education with an Apron, Trendy Teachers, Berteau & Co., Aaron Zink, Tyler Mallett. I mean, I tried to bring a variety of people on here, so no matter what you were needing in your life today, that I can now send you to a company that I trust, that I love them, that I know their hearts are in it for the right reasons, and to give you all some advice. So thank you, five, for being here today. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for another Honestly Let's Talk. Join next Thursday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time as I talk with 5 authors about them writing their book, whether it's a young adult novel, their first poetry book, PD book, or a biography. So join in next week.